Okay, time to review another soundtrack, or rank another soundtrack, and this time I'm doing Tailspin on the NES. Like always, I'm just doing the stage themes, so no title theme, no end credits, no boss theme, even though the boss theme is pretty awesome in this soundtrack. I'm just sticking with my traditional rule of thumb, which is only the stage themes. So in this case, there are 8 stages, and I'll preface this like I always do by stating that this list is just my opinion, just an arbitrary list, not to be taken seriously. You can agree or disagree, that's fine, and I encourage you to leave your feedback and your opinions as well. As far as the titles of these songs go, they're not really mentioned in-game. They're referenced in the cutscenes to an extent, but I'm going to be titling them based off of how it's listed in the manual, along with the numbered level, in this case referred to as rounds. So stage 1 is round 1, round 2, etc., etc. So without wasting any more time, let's get on with the list. Number 8, the baseball stadium. The main riff at the beginning is catchy enough, but then it just goes into this noodling. It really sounds like whoever's playing this is playing it for the very first time, just trying to figure out how the riff should go. It sounds sloppy in parts, like it's being made up on the spot, and there are not mistakes per se. I mean, it's not like there's fuck-ups or anything like that. It's just the melody is questionable at best. And even for noodling, if you want to just appreciate a good, proficient collage of sound, even that, you're not really getting that here with this one. Number 7, the haunted house. This is, the obligatory haunted house stage that any side-scroller has, with the semi-spooky opening riff and everything. But even though it's kind of going for that spooky sound, it goes into this jazz swing type of thing. It's not bad, it's a pretty decent foot tapper, and I'm glad it's not overly dramatic with the haunted house, Halloween, scary sound. But the thing that kills this song for me is the fact that the drum track just dies off after the beginning section. For no reason. It just stops, and it doesn't come back. There's nothing driving the song from this point on. And I'm not somebody who thinks that there has to be percussion in every song ever made. A lot of times there shouldn't be. But this is a song that definitely hinges on having that foundation. And the percussion track that was playing at the beginning section, it was perfect. It really the song could have stayed with that loop for the duration, and it would have really helped out. The foot just comes off the gas at that point, and kind of just makes the song a little awkward from there on out. Number 6, Jungle Junket. This one's fast-paced, lots of nice fills in the percussion. The riffs are okay. The refrain in particular has a pretty nice part. Now, while I wouldn't say that the song as a whole really does anything for me when you package it all together, but it has some nice moments, and the tone of everything that's happening, the drums, the bass, and the leads, all combined, have a good sound to them. The tone is rich and stands out. Number 5, the mining tunnels. The opening riff sounds like it's danger music, like we're getting involved in a dangerous situation, and then it goes into an upbeat, pleasant tone immediately with a main riff that's really loading up on the pitch bend. And then it stays that way the rest of the time. You don't go back to that danger music at the beginning. It's a little off-putting, weird, and I don't want to say it totally doesn't work, but it sounds like they had an idea for a whole different song at first, and then they just pitched it, but they liked how the intro sounded. I don't know. But the second half of the song does sound like a late NES Mega Man song. Like one of the not really standout ones with a memorable melody or anything, but it sounds good. So nothing classic, but you can't really go wrong with it from front to back. Number 4, In the Stormy Sky. This one's up-tempo and energetic, like a lot of the soundtrack. It has that upbeat tempo going. The main riff is the best part of it. In the second half, the riffs are busy, and it reminds me a lot of the Rescue Rangers soundtrack quite a bit. Those busy, stabby, up-tempo tunes. Number 3, High Above the City. This one's got a slowed down Hakuna Matata type sound to it. And just the fact alone that it's a slower pace makes this one stand out a little bit more, and it makes the whole soundtrack healthier to not just be going in one direction the whole time. Not that it really is redundant or anything like that, but it's just nice to throw in a change of pace. And this one's right in the middle of the game too, which is also good. I love the off-timed end transition back into the main riff. Aside from that, there aren't really any awesome moments, but all the sections of the song are at least decent. It's very consistent all the way throughout, just a solid song from beginning to end, especially the end. Number 2, Over the Sea. This one borrows a lot from the main title theme. It's kind of built around it. It has that rhythm and the riffs are similar, which makes all the sense in the world. I mean, it's the first stage in the game, so it makes sense to have that familiarity going and establishing the tone for the rest of the soundtrack. The percussion is straightforward, nothing fancy, but it sounds so thick, like there's shakers and other shit in the background. It's got a nice splashy sound with all the hits, so it sounds like whoever is playing the drums is really smacking them hard with that splashy effect. It's just really good production. Capcom definitely had a great music engine, didn't they? Kind of similar to High Above the City, this one is a solid song from front to back. I just like it more. Number 1, The Snowy Alps. Just a complete coincidence that the top 2 songs bookend the whole game. But yeah, this final stage is an upbeat tune, and it's more upbeat than most final stages go, especially from Capcom. There's always like that sense of foreboding and finality. This one's just like an upbeat, poppy tune. The main verse has 2 riffs that are layered on top of each other, but the riffs are very simple, so they're not stepping on each other at all. The combination of the 2 make a cool sequence, and it doesn't sound as simple as the riffs actually are, which is harder to do than it sounds. I also like the fact that the main verse kind of tricks me. It sounds like it's gonna go into a pretty predictable sequence, but then the third measure starts off with a note that kind of breaks the sequence. It's not a wrong note, it's just that it's not the one that everyone's expecting to hear. Sorry that I don't know what the notes actually are. A more proficient student of music would be able to articulate this better, but that's how it sounds to me. Maybe I'm off my fucking rocker on this one. Then there's this bridge that's very quick, and then it sounds like we're going back into the main verse right away, because the riff is the same, but the layering is different this time, so we're actually getting an entirely new section here. It is kind of repetitive without actually being repetitive. It's weird, but I like that about this. So that wraps up this list. Here's a quick recap. Number 8, the baseball stadium. Number 7, a haunted house. Number 6, jungle junket. Number 5, the mining tunnels. Number 4, in the stormy sky. Number 3, high above the city. Number 2, over the sea. And number 1, the Snowy Alps. So that's my list. What did you think? What is your list? Or your just general opinion of certain songs or the soundtrack as a whole. So that'll do it for this one. I'll see you next time.